Cros1, represent Freestyle Session, Armory Massive, Pro Breaking Tour, UDEF.
This is a business.
Two times. Yeah, I'm the D to the. Yeah.
Vocabulary spills, I'm ill. Plasmatic, now leave your brain stimulated.
Yo, I speak divine, I got theories, no need to be high. Always exhale the facts, I don't inhale lie. Play the greater man game to bounce off my laws. I'ma earn the acres, the house and the...
It all started when I pretty much like borrowed a Run DMC tape from my homie from in '84, and like around that time like breaking was coming out like big on the mainstream. So I started breaking around the same time, and I mean even started to do graffiti because I mean it was all hand in hand, you know, like you would get like a breakdance tape and it would have graffiti on it. So like, and I was a little artistic, so I was just kind of draw the Playboy bunnies and the the spray paint cans, and you know what I mean. So it all kind of went together. So I was breaking in '84, '85, and then it kind of fizzled out. I mean it was mainstream. It was big. Like in my block, like almost every childhood. Everybody in my block was breaking. Yeah. If they couldn't break, they was popping. If they can't pop, they were DJing. Yeah. If they don't DJ, then they were tagging. So it was like all encompassing. So and then basically from then, when it died out, I hung out with a lot of graffiti writers, and a lot of b-boys turned like to gangs and stuff. But I was just kind of homies with them. I didn't really like hang too much with those guys, but. I hang with writers, and then pretty much like for years, like they would be like, "Yo, we'll hit you up." Like I would go on bombing missions, but I wouldn't paint because I was so scared that my parents. But then finally, like in '88, I sucked in, started doodling on paper and came up with the name Cros. And it was funny because there was probably a couple names before that, but I came with the name Cros, and my friend jacked it from me. He was like, "Oh, that's a dope name." So he wrote it for like a week, but he's one of those guys that like changed his name every week. So as soon as he stopped writing it, I was like, all right, I'm taking it back. So I started writing, just mobbing around the city, learning how to piece. Just came up with a lot of talented individuals, that still actually paint to this day. And so just built with a lot of people in the city. And then I came into graffiti after it was already pretty much established. Like by '88, like. There was some cats that are killing it, like like Saki, freaking Zodak, Dies, a bunch of cats, TMK, BSD, RTS, like the list goes on. But yeah, just I would go to like Euclid. There was a place called Euclid Pits where everybody was painting, and like you would go there and just kind of meet everybody, and people were coming from all over San Diego because it was a part of the transit system, like right on the side of the transit system. So you would get off on the trolley at Market Street and walk down, and you're like in the boiling point. Like there's mad people from all over the place, drinking, smoking, painting all day, every day. And this was going on for years. So I met like mad individuals. That's funny because I met a lot of people from painting, and then like I said, New Year's '92 to '93, me and a bunch of homies. We had a crew going, and it was like a writing crew. It's called OSA, One Step Ahead, and so we went to this rave in LA at Knott's Berry Farm, and they had like a hip hop side, and it was like Black Sheep, Das Effects, a couple other cats, and like that night in the hip hop side, I seen mad people breaking, and I still had my moves because. From '85 to '92 or '93, I was doing judo, wrestling, so it would be like on mats, and like at the end of every practice, I literally would do like windmills and like just backspins and do whatever,
Right,
so
right.
Just messing around because I could do it, So I kept some of those moves. So as soon as I seen people breaking, I was like, dude, it's back, dude, like sick, So we actually started breaking that night again. Like we busted in the cypher all night, and then when we got home, we were like, dude, we got to start practicing, like so me and a bunch of homies, we started practicing again, and we started going to these raves in San Diego, and like there was a whole scene, like all the ravers knew how to break. And then it wasn't until like I think like maybe a year later, because I think I went through all of '93 just all in the rave scene and just tagging and, you know, because we were doing it all. And then in like '94, I believe, it might have even been '93, like late, but basically I went to another jam, and it was half hip hop, half like house music.
Okay.
In Chula Vista in San Diego. So like when I went there, I see there was a whole hip hop side. There was all the rave people that break, and then there was like a hip hop side that their break b-boys were there. So that night, like all the crews on the house and the party scene side battled all the hip hop b-boys. And we got that night, you know, I met mad people, and you know, on the hip hop side, I met up with these guys called the Delivery Boys, and I ended up getting with them. Like I started practicing with them. They were from like South Side San Diego, and I would just drive down there and build with them. And then it was crazy because that night I seen Zodak, who's like a king in graffiti, and he was actually part of Rocksteady. Like I don't know if it was around that time, but maybe a couple years later. But he I mean, like I said, he was a king in graffiti, and he was just as good in breaking. Like he was killing it. And he had the whole look down, like, you know, like he had the hoodie and the fat laces on his sneakers, and you know, the pants, and you know, the jeans, and like looking super fresh. And I was just like, dude, like that's the man right there, you know. But
So that's how it was, like just back in the day. I know maybe it's not like that a lot today, but everybody was kind of, you weren't just a b-boy, like you were also a writer. Might have been like, you know, I know you DJ and stuff. Did you have any influences with DJing around that time too?
DJing, I mean, it's just pretty much going to these parties. I've seen all the DJs, you know. Yeah. So, and you know, back then it's like, so we're probably a lot of the DJs from back then are DJing still now, you know. So I'm like remembering a lot of the OGs, and I'm like, yo, that dude was killing it back in the day, you know. Like there's cats like DJ Rags and you know, Steven Flex and Unique, who, those two guys I ended up partnering up for the Armory, and you know, they were DJing again, like still to like up into the 2000s, you know. Like Rags is still DJing in the clubs today. He's killing it, you know. And you know, he used to be at this record shop in Chula Vista, and I would go in there and he would tell everybody what to buy. You know, he was putting everyone on game, you know. So yeah, so the DJ game, I mean, there was even some writers that DJ, you know. It was just like that. So it's like it all kind of crossed over, you know what I mean? Like even like you know, graphic design work. You know, there's a bunch of homies from back in the day. Like we would just all build. Like one of the homies that used to break with me, he went to school in Long Beach for graphic design, and came back and taught us all how to do, you know, Photoshop and Illustrator and all that, you know. So it was cool, man. Like, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much everybody just kind of learned everything, you know. Like, and, you know, like eventually, like, you know, the DJ scene kind of went one way, you know what I mean. And even from the battle scene stayed real cool for a while, and then like even that, like with the influx of like all these clubs out here, like I'm sure it's just like that with everybody else too. Like with the more clubs out, they needed more DJs. So now all these battle DJs turned to going to make money every day, you know. So, and even with me, what started as a hobby for me, and just something that, like, you know, I started DJing like in 2002. I had already collected records since the 80s because that just was the medium that was cool, you know. So I had a mad.
Do you remember your first record you got?
I think it was like The Real Roxanne or like Houdini maybe.
Okay.
I even had like freestyle records like Lookout Weekend, WW, I mean, like shit like that.
Yeah.
So like I listen to everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you ever watch me DJ, like I pretty much DJ like a little bit of everything, you know. So
Was your family supportive of you, just like as you were kind of getting into, obviously you mentioned like some of the graph stuff, maybe not so much, but even just with like getting into the dance stuff as you started to get more into the hip hop scene early 90s, like was your family supportive of it?
I was pretty much going to school and still wrestling and stuff all the way through like maybe like 2 years of college.
Okay.
So I was doing everything at the same time, you know what I mean? But I got caught like mad times doing graffiti and stuff. I got, you know, busted a couple times. Mom's keeping a secret from my dad, and you know what I mean? Like, but eventually my dad wasn't stupid, man. He found out, he knew what's up. But I mean, I wouldn't say they were supportive of that, but like, you know, the creativity and just breaking, and then eventually like, you know, even like a year after I graduated from high school, like, you know, my graduation gift was going to Japan, and I went to Japan, and I mean, I was out there for 3 months just breaking, you know? So like, I wouldn't say that they were like, they knew that I was doing it, but they weren't like, ah, that's whack, you know? They were never like that. It was just like, oh, cool, you know? And then even up until like when I started my events, you know, like, you know, the event wasn't even, it wasn't like some big career decision that I did an event, you know what I mean? Like the year before that, in '96, I moved to Japan. I like literally sold all my stuff to go to Japan, and I went out there for like, I think maybe like 5 or 6 months, and I stayed with my friend out there, and he kind of influenced me to like start my own business in Japan. And he was working for a company buying and selling merchandise for a retail spot, you know. So he would come to the U.S. and he would practice with us, and you know, we went up and met up with the Renegades in Frisco, and you know, all that. So, you know, basically, when I was out there, I was like, man, I need to like work for myself, you know, like. So when I came back, you know, it took me a long time to figure out what was going on. I ended up coming back because I was pretty much having too much fun and making money in Japan. Like, I was pretty much buying and selling stuff, and they were hooking me up because like they had a place to stay for me, and I was buying stuff from the U.S. and selling it in Japan, and they were letting me use their shop to do so. And back then, like, say like a Jordan would be like $100 over here, but it'd be like $300 over there. So I literally buy it for 100 and sell it for 300. So I was making like, you know, a good amount of money.
Smart.
But we were out just having fun, you know. So we were out every night partying and stuff. Like, man, this is too much, man. I can't do this. Like, I'm gonna end up being a drunk by the time So I had to go back home. I went back home, stayed with my parents. Ended up trying to go back to school, but it wasn't really for me. And I got a job, and then one day I just decided to well, actually, first I decided to help my friend with his event, which is this event called Secret Wars. And I ended up helping him promote it, helping him throw it.
That was here in San Diego?
Yeah,
okay.
It was actually at the same venue where I did my first jam. Okay. So I helped him promote it, helped him do it.
Where was that
at the L Street Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
In Chula Vista. So I did that. I also entered and won with the crew.
Word.
So at the end of the day,
which crew was that at the time?
Huh?
Which crew was that at the time?
I was just kind of floating back then.
Okay.
So like,
cool.
Because at the time before that, I was in Dynamic Wizards, was kind of a traveling crew from Riverside, and it was like this guy Static that used to be an Air Force crew, and I think Orko used to be down with them, and this guy Sandman, and you know, a bunch of cats. Like, we actually went to Japan in like '95 to do a show. So I would like commute to LA and go practice with him, and Loose Caboose and Cosmo Lock taught me how to lock, and we were doing like all kinds of stuff, you know. So yeah, so came back, I threw the jam with my boy, and you know, I made out better than him because like he gave me, you know, half the money for his jam, and then I won.
Yeah.
So like, and I didn't win personally. It was like 3 of us, but like, we split the money, and like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, like, I could do this throwing a jam, you know? So I gave it a shot like a couple months later. It was in November '97. Same place, L Street Boys and Girls Club, and I was really only expecting like 200 or 300 people. You know what I mean? I mean, at the time I was hanging out with Ivan, so like one time we were you know, back then we didn't have like cell phones or anything, so like we'd open up the black book and just go down the line and call everybody up, like, yo, dude, like, I'm throwing a jam out here, and this is the date, like, what's up?
No, you know? Facebook invites, no texting.
No. I literally like I would put stamps on flyers and send them to people directly. I was sending out boxes to people, like I sent them to people in Denver, Las Vegas, Arizona, anywhere that I went to go break and meet people at, I sent them flyers, you know what I mean? So next thing you know, 3 months later, we have the jam, and it's like, I'm expecting like 300 people, and like 700 or 800 people are in the spot. You know?
People are just traveling from everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I mean, there wasn't that many crews that entered. It's maybe like 8 crews that entered, but we had about 700 people paid. You know what I mean? Back then, the jam was only $7. Just from there, it just kind of sparked me off. Like, dude, I could do this. So.
Who won that first one?
The first one, it was funny because I was breaking back then. So like,
did you enter your own jam?
Before the final, I was just like, man, screw this competition. Let's just go into ciphers, you know. So I just ended the battle like right at almost right before the finals. I think there was like 3 crews left. It was like Soul Control, Abstract Flavors, and Foot Soldiers. I don't know how it got to 3 because maybe there was only 6 people that entered, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, so I just said screw it. We did it. I gave people free stuff because I had like stuff from Tribal and Top to Bottom and other companies, and just gave it out. So, but then the second one, I just kind of learned off my mistakes off the first one, you know. Like the first one, I had like issues with sound. Yeah. So the second one, I got a whole different sound company, and they killed it, you know. Mm-hmm. I got, you know, the first one we had DJs that were trying to like juggle and stuff. Like literally every event, man. I just try to learn off the next one, you know. First one to second one, and then